Hello, one and all. This is Chris, and of course, you are listening to Bar None 11970. And as always, I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to check out my channel and hear what I have to say. So, while I'm waiting for a couple of people to join in, because when I make my live shows, I just do them when I see something or think of something important to talk about, and we go from there. So it's going to take about 30 seconds or so before people see that I am doing a live show. So we'll wait a second or two. But what I want to do is talk about the physical metals, the gold and silver. Now, I've been talking about gold and silver pretty much since one of the main reasons why I opened this channel, and even my previous channel, Bar None 11967, which I took down, I think, in 2011, 2012. I've always talked about the physical metals. Stay away from the paper. I also talk about the fact that every time there is some kind of situation that you may not be aware of, people will react to the prices. So I'm going to show you a screen share, and we're going to go here, and I will post the link once this uploads. I will post the link to this if you want to read into it. But as you can see, let me just first make sure the screen share is on. Okay, so as of now, we see some nice moves with gold and silver. We see currently gold up $20 today, over $20. It's currently around 1,340. And silver's making yet another good turnaround. I mean, there were people when it went back down to 19 saying, oh, that was the end of the rally. Well, you know what? You're going to have a market that's going to test lows and highs. So you don't want to have anything going straight up, because then you know there's a major problem. So there's going to be adjustments. There's going to be tests. And you could see it's going back. It's back over 20 again. Currently up 75 cents, $20, and roughly around 39.40 cents an ounce. The bigger move today was platinum. Platinum's up over $51 at 1,142. That's a nice move. And we got palladium at up 17 to 706. So basically the reason is, and as you could see here, after weeks of speculation, the Federal Reserve has decided to leave rates unchanged, and this is what they're always going to do, but leave the door open for a September hike. So this is the scam. This is what keeps people not going all in on precious metals, and why you're not seeing major rises right now. Because for how many years now has the Federal Reserve been saying, oh, we're going to raise hikes, the interest rates? And they did it once. They raised it 0.25% to basically test it. And then all of a sudden, that's when you started seeing the stock market start to plummet. And they actually retraced. So the way they trick people is they're going to tell you, oh, well, we may do it in the future. We may do it in the future. And each time that future comes up, oh, well, some other excuse happens. It's like how the government uses like terrorism. It's like, oh, well, you never know. Tomorrow there might be a new person. And yeah, we got Osama bin Laden. And even though we told you years before we supposedly got him, that if we get him, the problem will be solved. Or if we get some other terrorist leader, that'll be it. There's always going to be something else. So according to this, they're saying, looking ahead, if the Fed is going to raise rates this year, September is the optimum time. Let me tell you something. I'm going to say right now that I think in September there is going to be some kind of situation that we have to look for that's going to affect the metals in one way or another. I'm looking at the beginning of September to the second week of September. That's just my gut feeling. So be on the lookout for some kind of event to happen that will be very noticeable, that will influence the precious metals, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go to the roof or it's going to go down to zero, but I think there will be some noticeable changes. So I just have this sneaking suspicion that somewhere around the beginning to mid-September, there's going to be some interesting situations. But with this whole thing, they're going to continually tell you, oh, we might do it, we're thinking about doing it, and they're not going to do it. And then you see when that comes, the price of the metals do change. And you can see, what do? They go up. They can only do this for so long before people catch on. But then again, I mean, we've had politicians saying since the 60s they're going to start working on alternative energies like solar panels and wind technology, and here it is, 50 years later, we're still talking about it. So who knows? Maybe they can indefinitely fool people. So here's my thing. I've always said this. If you want to protect yourself for the future, gold and silver is one of the good ways to put your fiat currency into something in a physical form. Because if you leave your money in a bank, the more they print, the more it devalues, the more you lose the purchasing power of your money. So you don't have to put it in gold and silver if you don't feel like it, but any tangible asset. I mean, one of the things I did about comic books is the fact that I can exchange them for a currency, or I could trade them for something. If you have something that's very valuable, somebody might trade what you need for it. Now, I'll give you a prime example of something that happened today. My wife had to get new brakes and rotors for her car, and I told her to take money out of the bank. And when she went to the ATM, it was only allowing her to take $200 out of her bank account. So if you have thousands of dollars in your bank account, and you have ATM machines that all of a sudden, if there's some kind of problem and they either shut down or maybe say, oh, you're allowed $50 a day, then it doesn't matter if you have thousands of dollars if you can't get to it. So if you have things like physical gold and silver, if there are crisis events, and I hope there never are, because that's the whole benefit of insurance for your car. You hope you never get into an accident, but if you do, it's going to help you. These things, in my opinion, and why I get them, is for protection in case situations like that happen. So I don't use it as fear, I use it as protection, because nobody sits there, and this is what the trolls don't understand about this stuff. They're always saying, oh, gold and silver haven't reached the moon yet, you're crazy, you're dumb. And that's just like saying, I bought insurance for my car, and every day they send a message, oh, you didn't get into an accident yet. Boy, are you stupid for getting insurance on your car. That makes no sense, because if I go through my whole lifetime without getting into an accident, number one, that's a good thing. And number two, I'm not going to regret the fact that I had the insurance just in case. That's how I view physical gold and silver. I view it as insurance. If I ultimately never need it, here's the beautiful thing. Physical gold and silver is never going to go to zero. So it will always retain some sort of value. So I can always exchange it at a time when I might need it. Good luck doing that with a stock that fails. You know, they're trying to promote the stock market, saying, oh, all-time highs. Well, aren't they supposed to teach you in business to buy low and sell high? And yet you see the media constantly telling you that the safe bets are the things that are already at high points, because they want you to go in and use your greed to influence you and use your emotion to make you not stop and think, wait a minute, I'm supposed to buy low and sell high. Now, I still maintain that gold and silver one day, and that could be 5 years from now, because I've always said long term, it's not going to be 30 years from now, that you will see prices in gold and silver that we haven't seen yet. If it's tested it once, it can do it again. And it all depends on the economy. If they continue to print money and they continue to devalue the currency, it just makes the gold and silver, especially gold, keep up with inflation. That is why if you had a very expensive suit back in the 30s, when gold was around $35 an ounce, 1 ounce of gold could buy you a very expensive suit. Well, that same 1 ounce can buy you the same very fancy suit. The same thing. Compare gold to oil, and look how it's kept up with the price of oil as compared to the dollar. The dollar, you keep needing more of it to make purchases of the oil. So there are a lot more factors into it, and obviously I don't know everything about this, but I invest in gold and silver for protection. It's something that these trolls and haters just don't seem to understand, and for some reason why they're so concerned about my business and what I do makes no sense to me. I mean, if they want to put all their money in the bank and sit there thinking, well, I'll buy a couple of bonds, especially when the banks decide to go to negative interest rates. If you want to spend money so banks can hold on to your cash and won't even let you have access to it, I mean, good luck with that. You know, if you have $50,000 in the bank, good luck going to the bank and taking that $50,000 out. If you take anything over, I think, $10,000, it might be a little bit under $10,000. They might have changed it, made it lower at this point, but I know it's at least around $10,000. They have to make a report, and they send it to the IRS. And they're going to ask you, what are you taking out your money for? And then they will tell you, well, come back tomorrow or come back in a couple of days, and we'll have your money for you. So they don't even have it there to give to you. And people don't see this. And what's going to happen is it's a scam that when people realize this scam and how it works, It's a Ponzi scheme. It's like one of those pyramid schemes. It only works as long as there's participants. Once the people no longer play, that system collapses. And when that system collapses, you don't want to be stuck having the most paper currency, because what good is it? That's like saying I have the most monopoly money. Okay, what are you buying with it? And the thing is, when it comes to these situations, the physical gold and silver is always going to shine. It is always going to keep up with inflation. Now, it's going to go up and down as compared to inflation, but nothing near what the paper currency is going to do. And paper currencies can collapse. It has been done many times in history. So, I mean, if you want to be one of those people that lives under an active volcano and says, well, it's safe because it hasn't erupted, well, what are you going to do if it erupts? And once it erupts, there's nothing you can do. So the way this happens, and I've been trying to warn people, is if it happens, I'm saying if, I'm not going to guarantee these things are going to happen in our lifetime, because they're very good at manipulating things. But if it happens, you are going to go to sleep one night thinking everything's fine, to waking up to find out all of a sudden you can't get access to your money in the bank. They will shut it down. They already did it in Greece. And what was that, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? That's not 300 years ago. These are not things that are out of the realm of possibility. And again, it's not about being scared or creating fear. It's if you had a crystal ball and knew, if you had a crystal ball that said tomorrow, if you go swimming at the beach, you will be eaten by a shark. That is scary, isn't it? Well, not if you don't go to the beach. So if you look at the information as something that prevents you from doing the things that could cause harm, well, then it's not frightening for you. But for some reason, people want to see it all these different negative ways. So, again, there are some people, no matter what I say, they're just going to hate it. They're going to make their fake accounts and they're going to say stupid things, which I'm just going to continue to block. But if they want to keep giving my channel views and, activity, that's fine. They're just helping to promote my channel. That's perfectly fine. But as you can see, silver is once again over $20. It's currently at $20.40. Gold is currently up $20 at $13.40. And again, like I said, platinum's making a nice move. And this is based on the fact of what the Fed says and what the Fed does. So they're going to keep telling people, as long as they're going to keep believing it, they're going to keep telling you. Just like politicians, they'll continually tell you everything you want to hear, because for some reason, every 4 years, the people seem to forget that nothing really is getting changed for the better. So again, they're going to scare everybody, and you'll see the price of gold and silver dip again once they talk about potential rate hikes again. And then when September comes around and it doesn't happen, and October doesn't come around, it doesn't happen, or maybe they'll try again, raising it 0.25%, you'll see all of a sudden people will flood to the metals. So they do it each time. And eventually, and that's one of the things I agree with Peter Schiff, is eventually they're going to get back to quantitative easing. And if you have been following my channel for a while, you know what happened the first time they did quantitative easing, and especially even the second time, what it did to the metals. So if you don't want to have them, that's your choice. I'm not telling you to do anything. You could absolutely ignore what I'm saying. You could call me the fool for what I choose to do with my money. That's perfectly fine. I'm giving advice to people who feel that I can speak as much common sense as I can. And what you do from there is up to you. So as usual, I want to thank everybody for listening to what I have to say. I hope you appreciate what I try and do, because I may not get everything right. I may not get everything to the point where people always agree, but at least it's unscripted, uncharted. It's from my own point of view, and I'm just speaking from the heart. So if you appreciate that, you want to support it, thumbs up, always help my channel. Trust me, I could use the support. And if you want to subscribe, please do, because we love to have more Bar-None warriors that want to speak and have a free thought and open mind. So thanks for listening. Get your gold and silver while you can in the physical form, and one day you will be very happy you did. I know I will be. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.